Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where it's back in 2003. Internet humor was really different. I'm not sure if it's better now. We'll find out. Anyways, guys, I'm Bill. This is Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm very tired myself this week.
Yeah.
Because this is I don't even think I've done this at all this year, but I've literally gotten up for work at 3 o'clock in the morning every day this week. Did not oversleep once, which surprising. Um, which kind of tells me that my body has readjusted to getting up that early, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Um, take it from someone who's never had a good work schedule. Just you just kind of it's this thing that you just accept, and then eventually it'll change again.
Yeah, well, by the time I get to like the midway point of my day, I'm just like dead on my feet. Like,
Yeah. No, you could tell. So if anyone watched this week's, well, at the time this came out, it was like weeks ago, but the episode of 3DO we did at the at the time, the Army Men RTS episode, I was already half asleep on the Tuesday we recorded that, so that shows how this week's been going.
yeah, for real. But keeping busy though. I haven't like completed any games, but I've been chipping away at Go Ackman. I haven't been like seriously plugging away to like try and clear it in, like a day or anything, but I'll do like a level here and there. And that's going good. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
Um, and I also now that I have my Switch back, I hit my new game plus on Persona 4. I think the 3D out you guys did on it kind of triggered that on me. But since I just played all like the like the like build up part on the Vita, I literally just like skipped and fast forwarded everything until I got to Yukiko's dungeon. The last
That's
thing I
fair.
think I did, I like literally did that until Chie got her persona, and that I think that's about where I left off on the Vita. So now I can just play normally. But I got through that whole beginning part in like an hour total.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, the beginning is the most skippable part of that game.
Mhm.
God,
But
that 4 hour episode.
yeah, it was
I,
wild.
I still I loved it, but my God,
Not since the pilot of this show.
honestly, I think the 3D out was the first episode I've recorded that actually eclipsed that. So
Yeah. Um I think part of that is just because it was one of those kinds of topics that you could talk about for hours.
well, it was the first. So the fun fact is I've talked about Persona 4 on all three podcasts I am a part of, which is hilarious in a lot of ways. But that was the first one where it was legitimately a deep dive. Like we were
Mhm.
going from point for point because that's kind of the goal we were going for with 3D out.
Mhm.
But yeah, that
Yeah, it
that
was kind of like a pixel project level deep dive.
yeah. Well, I think Rick does a much more professional job than we do.
Well, I just mean like in terms of like how deep you're going into it.
True, true.
I mean,
I mean,
obviously, like when he goes into a game like to the level of Persona, he tends to break it up into multiple episodes, and then ultimately it ends up being like 4 times longer than the one you did, but still.
true. Well, the thing about Rick is just a big shout out to Rick here, but the thing about Rick is he goes that deep on every game he does. Persona 4 is probably the one game where I could legitimately get away with that. It's the one game where I don't even have to play it to like do a deep dive into it. I just know because I've played
Hmm.
that game way too many times.
I just gotta take
Uh,
my coat off. It's usually chillier in here, and right now I'm like fucking sweating.
See, I'm in my basement and it's cold down here because I turned the heat
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I've been in your basement, and even with the heat on, it's fucking freezing.
No, I didn't. I didn't know how to turn. So, fun fact: when you were here, I didn't know how to turn the heat properly on down there, so there was no heat going on down there.
Oh, fair enough. No wonder the house had that weird like heat situation.
Well, heat just rises in my house for whatever reason. Like the upstairs is just hot. I mean, granted, the game room is really hot, probably because it's so fucking dense in there. But
Yeah, there's a lot of insulation from the shelving.
shelving and just it's full of stuff. But
Yeah.
you know,
Um, but yeah, aside from that, I also just for the fuck of it, just for like a casual game, I started a file on the original Crash Bandicoot
Nice.
because I've never actually beaten it before. I always get stuck like right around the same part, and I just get pissed off, and then I walk away, and I never go back to it. And then
Are
like
you
a couple years
playing
later, I'll start it over again. And
are you
huh?
playing the actual original or are you playing the Insane Trilogy version?
I'm playing the original on my Anbernic, so
Oh,
that
so it's
once I get to that level, I'll just save scum through it.
so it's even more jank than it was yeah.
Yes, but in a way, it'll be uh, more easy to get through.
See, my favorite
Um,
part about playing Crash 1 is when you forget that that game was like D-pad only originally and you're like, "Ooh."
yeah, but I mean, it's fun, kind of just like messing around with it again, and um, and I know that now that I have the save scum option, like I'm getting less frustrated while playing it, and that is greatly improving my feelings about the game.
See,
So
the key to Crash 1 is just realizing you don't have to 100% it. There's no reason to 100% it. Just get to the end.
yeah, we'll see. That's the thing is even when I'm just like I said, like once I get to like that level, I couldn't even tell you which level it is, but like there's like a specific level that I could never get past. Like even like whether it's the original, whether it's the Insane trilogy, like nothing. Like I cannot for the life of me get through that. And I
Mhm.
also came to the realization this week that I don't think I've ever actually played 2 at all.
That's kind of crazy because 2 is considered the best game in the series by many people.
Well, see, I played the shit out of Warped, and that's the only one I've actually beaten before.
Warped is probably the most overall balanced. 2 is just a really good game.
Gotcha.
I want to play
Um,
2.
but yeah, so I don't know if I mentioned it last week or not, but my annual subscription for Max is up actually this coming Monday, and I decided not to renew it because they increased the prices again, and it's like fucking damn near $200 for the annual price.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pay fucking $200 right now, like for a streaming service. So
Especially when
I
they
mean,
took most of the stuff that I would even want it for off.
yeah, yeah. So what I ended up doing was like well, what I'll probably do going forward is like if I plan to watch stuff on Max, like for instance, when we get to like the Superman 3 movie or like the later Batman like 90s ones and things like that, like stuff that I don't physically have, um, yeah, I'll probably just pay for a month and just use it for a month and then let it go again. Um, but for this past week, instead of watching shows, I've been plowing through a bunch of the movies that I haven't seen.
Hmm.
Um, so I watched all the Miyazaki, the directed by Miyazaki films that I hadn't seen yet, and I also watched a bunch of the ones that he wrote but didn't direct for.
I think the
Um,
main one is Mark of the Fireflies is like the one that he didn't direct, but he was. That's the one that's kind of it fits in with the rest of them.
I didn't see that one on the.
Or is it Grave of the Firefly? It's one of
It's
the ones.
something like that because what's funny is I actually once I watched The Wind Rises, which was the last one I needed to watch, I went back and I listened to your GNC episode on it, like
The
on
one where
the Ghibli
Alex,
movies.
the one where Alex laughs for like 20 minutes for no
Yeah,
reason.
I'm gonna bring that up tomorrow, by the way, just for reference. Um,
So
for background, we're recording the Attack on Titan episode tomorrow.
it'll
Which
probably
by
be out
this
before this
time it'll already
episode,
be out. Yeah.
most likely. It actually they might be coming out around the same time, depending on how it
um,
lines up. But
but anywho, yeah, I didn't see that on Max. I don't know if it's on there or not.
it should be, unless they're taking shit off that too.
I don't know. But I watched I think 9 Ghibli movies, and I watched one that wasn't a Ghibli movie. I watched Belle.
Oh, Belle's a good movie.
Yeah, it was very good. It's actually I finished watching it and I was like, by the time I got to the end of it, I kind of like I didn't cry, but like I kind of felt that little like that like feeling you get in the back of your eyes, like you want to cry, but your testosterone just won't let you.
Well, I mean, I watched Attack on Titan and didn't feel anything from most of it, so I'm probably not the person to ask. But
I mean, I know you've welled up at some, especially Ghibli movies. So
Wind Rises, yes, a little bit because that ending, holy shit. But
yeah, same, same. Um, but yeah, don't pretend like you're an unfeeling monster, Bill. I know, like, even if you don't actually shed a tear, I know you feel. You son of a bitch.
uh,
um, but no, like I felt a little bit of that, like towards the end of watching Belle. So I said, "Oh, I need to make Cindy watch this movie because she will cry."
have you watched A Silent Voice?
No, I see. Because the like a big anime swap thing that you guys did with it was I think Belle, a silent voice, and something else.
I don't
I
even,
don't remember what the third movie was.
let me check. I have my thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, it was One Piece Red.
Oh, okay, so I've seen that already. Yeah, because since I watched Belle, I was like, oh, and I went and looked at that episode because I did listen to that when it first came out, but I hadn't seen any of the movies, so I didn't have any frame of reference. Um, I've looked up Silent Voice multiple times. It's not available for streaming unless you rent it, and it hasn't been like this whole
Oh,
time.
they
So,
must have taken it off of Netflix. It was on Netflix for a while.
yeah. Unfortunately, I still haven't seen that one yet, but at some point, as soon as it's available again, I'll watch it.
That one will get
Um,
you right in the feels.
oh, I'm sure. But anyways, have you watched Pompoko?
Probably not. That doesn't sound familiar.
You'd remember it. I you should watch Pompoko.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just not even gonna say anything about it. Just do yourself a favor and watch it. Um, it's narrated by the guy who plays Brain, like Pinky the Brain.
Oh, Maurice Lamar, I think his name is.
I couldn't tell you, but
I
I
don't
do
know
know
what you're
that
talking about.
Clancy Brown and J.K. Simmons are also in it,
Nice.
which is fun. But no, you should definitely watch it. It's a treat.
Okay, good to know. Um, other than that, I haven't watched a lot of anime because I've been flat out exhausted this week.
Hmm.
To be to put it lightly.
Oh,
Um,
I watched Zenshu as well.
nice. Yeah, okay, because that episode comes out tomorrow.
Yeah,
In fact,
I very much enjoyed that show. Um,
so the episode will be out before this comes out, so we can share. Um, yeah, that was not where I was expecting that show to go.
no, and we don't. Well, first of all, it's beautifully animated,
It's Mappa doing
like
Mappa things.
to a super. Well, yeah, but like I love the work the Mappa does, like the stuff that I've seen. But I feel like they tend to lean CG a lot, and I didn't
Mhm.
notice a lot of that in this show.
No, although I did. Did you watch it all in like one go or like a couple
Uh,
goes?
technically two sittings, but yeah, pretty much.
Did you get really sick of her flying into her desk?
No, honestly, because I thought that was the funniest and most impressive magical girl transformation ever, especially since she was just summoning a desk.
Did you notice the one time she wasn't wearing pants? They actually took that into account.
Yeah, I did notice that. That was weird.
I was like,
But
oh wow, they actually thought of that.
my favorite part of that whole show is when she is just losing her mind, like, oh my god, anime food. I can't wait to eat anime food. Like, and that's like the main reason she wants to do all this shit is because she has like unlimited access to anime food. And
Did you?
like we all know, like every time we watch an anime, like especially like newer ones where they put a lot of fucking time and effort into animating the food,
Mhm.
it's like, oh man,
Did
that's
you?
just delicious.
Did you catch the subtle mind fuck at the end of that show?
Subtle.
Well, the kind of debatable like, what did she survive or was it all just a dream at the end kind of thing?
I mean, it's debatable.
It's like a mind fuck. It's like, huh?
Well, it is like so that's the thing is like it could go either way, but
Yeah,
I feel like I mean it's anime, so it probably happened.
yeah. I'm still trying to figure out that it was up there with like the ending to Perfect Blue for me for just like what the like what did I just watch?
That's one that like now that I've gone through all the Miyazakis, I want to go through the Satoshi Kon movies.
They're a trip. except for the Christmas one. The Christmas one's just fun.
Fair enough. And then obviously I want to watch the rest of the Shinkai movies as well.
Yeah, I still gotta watch all the older ones too.
But yeah, I was just plowing through movies this week. There was still some that I didn't get to, and I probably won't have the opportunity before it runs out. But like I said, like I'm sure, like at some point or another, I'll just like get a month here, a month there of Max, and I'll do it then. So it's not a big deal.
Oh yeah, I gotta update the. We had mentioned Pocket Theory Diaries, the frog thing. Unfortunately, was not revealed in that episode. It was a tease. Apparently,
Yeah, we
it's
got the beginnings of it.
yeah. We're getting a. Well, I'll find out later today when I watch that after recording this.
Yeah,
So,
I noticed it came out like right before we came over to do this. Like, fuck, I gotta watch that.
well, because like I'm like the whole time I'm like, all right, what is the frog thing? And then I see the frog, and then it cuts to fucking credits. I was like, okay,
Yeah, because it was like I was waiting for it like the whole episode because that preview from last week showed the frog, and then the frog didn't show up until like literally the last 60 seconds of the episode.
yeah. I was like, oh, geez. I'm like, okay,
It's like, what are we
next.
doing here? Like,
Apparently, the today's episode is the final episode of the first half,
hmm.
so we're gonna get a title change and everything next for the rest of the episodes. But
Man, I'm where all my ongoings just fucking ended because Doctor Stone ended like a couple weeks ago. Um,
solo
I think
leveling ends
The
tomorrow.
Kenshin, yeah, Soul Leveling ends tomorrow. The Kenshin season 2, I believe, based on the way that episode ended, is done. That came out, I think today. So yeah, it's like all my My Hero Vigilantes just came out, so I have that now, and we're still waiting on word from My Happy Marriage because that just hasn't.
Because Netflix sucks ass. Like, because I'd understand if there was an issue, but like the fact that they aren't fucking saying anything just pisses me off. Like,
And there's like only what 2 episodes left.
there's 2 episodes left, and they're already out in Japan. Like, you can get a VPN and watch the episodes in Japanese if you want. Um,
Ridiculous.
but it's like
They better
it's
just release them both at once. At this point.
they're not going to because Netflix sucks. But it's the fact that they're not saying a word that's
Mhm.
pissing everybody off.
But yeah, at this point, like with the exception of like the delays of My Happy Marriage, like literally all of my ongoings ended at like the same time. Dime is the only exception, and that's only gonna be going on for the next like 5 weeks or
True.
so.
I'm not sure if there's going to be a break in between the two halves of Apothecary Diary, so that one might still be going.
I I feel like I heard that it is gonna be split in half, but we'll see.
Well, I heard they're going to just keep going like directly into the next thing, from what I heard, but
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
Well,
I don't
I mean,
know.
I'd be okay with that because I like Apothecary Diaries. That's one of the ones I really look forward to every week. So.
I'm not sure if the dub's going to be right away, though. That's kind of where I'm wondering. But
Hmm. Also, I was thinking about Daima, and since we're gonna be skipping. Well, I mean, you'll still be getting an episode, listeners, but we will not be recording next week because I'm gonna be out of state. But with that into account, I realized that by the time we're recording our last Toriyama month episode, that I believe is going to be the week that the final Daima episode comes out in the dub. So I was thinking, like, because like we've had like a bit of a delay with like we're technically when we're recording usually like an episode or two behind. So I was thinking whatever episodes we have left, we should just binge the rest of them all in one episode, just to cap off Toriyama month.
okay. So do you want to hold off doing Dime Time today, or do you want to?
Oh no, we'll still do it.
Oh, okay,
No, I mean like when we get there, especially since we're. I don't know if the guests we have lined up for Toriyama month have been keeping up or not, so we might not be doing Dama Time those
true.
weeks. So
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
makes
we'll
sense.
have at least a couple episodes um, that we could do then. But
Gotcha. All right. Well, on that note, we should probably hop into Dime Time then.
cue the music.
Yep. Fucking my computer's being slow today. Come on. Nope. We're not looking at drinks. There we go.
Did the same thing last week.
I keep forgetting which
Also,
one it is.
I just realized that both of our taglines have something to do with bullshit.
Oh yeah, I've just left it at that one for now. So I'm the collector of bullshit.
um. So yeah, Daima this week was that episode 13, I believe.
Let me check just to be sure.
Because last episode was the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta one.
Yeah, it was 13, and I'm not gonna lie, not a ton happened this week. This episode.
It was very much like a filler adventure-y kind of episode, which I'm totally cool with because we need to have like that kind of tension break episode before, because we had this episode and then the next one is gonna be like them on their way to the first demon realm and then or the first demon world, and then like literally everything after that is gonna be like bum rushing to the end. So
Yeah.
it makes sense to have this episode here. Although I do find it kind of ironic that, especially with all the comparisons Daima and GT have had as we've been going along, that they would literally just copy paste an episode that they had in GT because they went to there was a giant planet in GT.
Yeah. This one was, I'm not gonna lie, this one was very much like an episode where I was kind of like really struggling to keep my eyes from my phone.
Really, I found this one really fun.
I don't know if it's just because of the fact that nothing was really happening, like to move on the plot.
They got attacked by a horde of hamsters.
It must not have left an impression on me because I honestly forgot about that. I just remember their ship broke and shenanigans happened like there.
Because we had to keep that whole thing going. So we got some of Bulma and Pansy bonding over technology.
Oh yeah. They're all of a sudden friends, and Vegeta. I don't think Vegeta like really reacted much to it.
No, I mean, it all goes way over their heads anyway.
True.
But yeah, they were having fun tinkering and trying to fix the ship and shit, and exchanging their different technologies, so to speak. You know, Bulma got a little lesson about Modulite, which is apparently a power source they only have in the Demon Realm, and Pansy learned about Hoi Poi capsules, which, wow, I didn't think anybody would use that term ever again. Like, because when was the last time you heard them called Hoi Poi capsules?
I forgot they were called that.
Yeah, that was the original name. Like when you go to like, you know, chapter 1 of the manga.
Did they even use that in the anime?
Not in the original dub, no.
That's probably why I don't remember in the slightest.
No, not in the original dub. I'm honestly coming to think of it, I'm not sure if they ever referred to it in the dub that way.
I don't think they did, because I heard that in Diamond. I was like, what capsules? I was like, because I didn't remember any of that shit.
But I mean, they called it that like very frequently in the manga, so I just didn't dawn on me at first. Oh, but this episode started with Goma losing his shit because all the Dragon Balls are now claimed by someone or other.
Right. I keep forgetting Goma is the villain technically of this.
Yeah. And apparently they can just turn off warp. Because they just fucking flip a switch and they power him down. Because apparently he's not organic or not like alive. I don't really understand how warp works.
Yeah.
Because they made him seem like some sort of like divine being, so to speak. But apparently you could just pull a lever and turn him off. It's weird.
Demon World.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also love how like butthurt Degasu is. He's just like, why do I have to pull the lever? Like,
yeah. It's interesting how like we're just kind of like the focus is completely like kind of split from those guys, and now we're in just like there's like different groups doing things, and I'm sure it's gonna converge later, but
yeah. Well, I mean, spoilers, but you know, don't expect much from Degasu.
I haven't since he showed up, to be perfectly honest.
Arinsu is easily the more interesting one out of the two.
True.
Degasu's kind of a bitch.
I
But
got that
uh,
vibe.
so yeah, they crash land on the giant planet. Well, as they're crashing, like about to crash, like everyone's freaking out, but Neva's just like, don't land in the ocean. Remember what lives there. He's just like kind of like loving it. I don't know why, but he's just having a great time with it. But then as
He
soon as they
is,
land, he starts freaking out because they realized what planet they landed on.
yeah. Yeah, Neva's like he's very clearly faking it a lot of the time, and then like when something serious actually happens, he's like, "Oh shit, no more
Yeah.
act."
He's like, oh no, none of you know what this is. Like, this is bad.
But of course, to
um,
Goku, it's like whatever.
yeah. He's like, oh, that's cool. They're real big and strong.
Goku
Um,
sees threat and goes, "Ooh, I can beat this up."
yeah, right. And also Hibis just continues to be a treat.
He's fun. He's probably the most fun original character for this series.
Like I love it. Just like at one point, Pansy's just like, "Hey, be a step stool for me." He's just like, "Oh, great! Now my pants are dirty."
Yeah, like he's not even mad about them standing on him. He's mad about that of all
Yeah,
things.
it's just super funny. I love Hibis. He's a great character.
He had another
Um,
Glorio misnaming too, but now he's just kind of like doesn't care. He's like,
yeah, he
whatever.
didn't even correct him this time. He was just like, "Yeah, whatever."
He was weird. He was weirdly happy this episode. I was like I don't know if I like that. Like,
Well, I mean, I think by this point we're starting to kind of get the whole like, because he's still like he had his little like phone call with Arinsu or like in the episode, and I think it's by this point it's pretty obvious that he's getting attached to everybody, and like he's still like kind of working behind the scenes with Arinsu, but he doesn't feel good about it.
like he straight up turned into Mayuki there for like a few minutes, like with his like positive attitude. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like,
Yeah, right.
go back to student council, sir.
Yeah, right. Where's the bags under your eyes?
Yeah, pretty much.
um. So yeah, I mean, essentially, it was pretty much just goofiness throughout this episode. They get attacked by a bunch of hamsters, which is hilarious.
Hmm.
And then a giant shows up, and he is fucking huge. Like I don't think we've ever seen a giant or any sort of kaiju this big in Dragon Ball before. Only for it to be revealed to us that this isn't even an adult; this is a child.
Surprise.
Yeah, a school bag and all. He's got a big ass ruler, and he's just munching on a kraken tentacle.
Oh yeah, yeah, because they had to reference like size even more, being like, "Oh, you remember this giant thing that ate Vegeta? Well, it's nothing for these people."
It's a snack for this guy.
Yeah,
Um, and he also had a dog with him, and I gotta say, like, I don't know, it's just something about Toriyama's designs. Like, I love the dog,
Toriyama makes some good monster designs,
and
or he made them. Anyways,
so obviously, like, it's a dog, so it sniffs them out and is like, "What is this?" And they're trying to like dodge around it and kind of like not fight it because Goku's like kind of struggling, but it's mostly because he doesn't want to hurt the dog.
yeah, typical Goku fashion.
But I mean, it's not like the dog isn't strong just because of its sheer size, because it is. And like it is a point where it's like they are struggling to kind of fend it off without hurting it. But at one point, like Goku kind of like crash lands onto the dog, and even the fucking ticks are giant,
Yeah,
like 8 times bigger than he is.
it's all just one giant trope of like the giant world, like thing.
Yeah, but I will say, like, just calling attention to like the aesthetic of where they are, like the whole world itself is beautifully animated. Like the design of it is it's just so pretty.
Yeah, Toy's been doing a good job so far with the series.
Well, it's one of those things where they had a long like production time for this series.
Hmm.
Like think about like they gave themselves like 3 months to kind of slap Super together. Like literally, like
Yeah.
Resurrection F came out 3 months later, Super aired, and they were not planning Super until Resurrection F came out. So like they really slapped that together. That's why the beginning of Super is so rough. Daima they have been working on for years before it actually came out.
Oh yeah, and it's easier with Daima too because it had a set kind of length and like amount of episodes they had to focus on.
Yeah, exactly. So they like literally spent multiple years working on a 20 episode series. So like obviously it was gonna come out looking good. But
It
like
helps too that the One Piece break came up, so they had time to actually like divert more resources into it.
yeah, for sure. Um but yeah, I mean it's mostly just like an actiony, adventure-y kind of episode. There's not really like tons going on aside from them just fending off the giants.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of.
We did get a really like good like classic style Kamehameha, which we haven't
Mm,
gotten really from this series yet. We've gotten Kamehamehas, but like we got like the classic like slow build up Kame like, and we haven't heard Stephanie Nadalny specifically do that in forever. So that was really nice.
yeah,
Like that was like the most like old school Keigoku that she's sounded throughout this whole thing was doing that.
yeah. Honestly,
Um,
it was all fun.
yeah, it was all good fun. I mean, they fix the ship, they take off, whatever. Like there was, like I said, like there wasn't a whole lot in terms of like substance and story progression, but it was mostly just like character moments, you know, actiony bits, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Nothing
I
too
w-
crazy.
I will say though, this is still seeming a lot like a show that's going to be really good to watch in full once it's done.
Yes, for sure. And I don't know if it will be on this show or on GNC once Alex watches it or something, but I'm sure we're gonna end up at some point just doing a full like coverage of the series as a whole at some point.
Probably eventually. Depends on how like, getting Alex to watch Dragon Ball related content sometimes.
Well, I mean, she based on what I've heard on listening to GNC, she has specifically been waiting for Daima's dub to finish, so she'll probably just power through it when it ends.
Most likely. She's been watching a lot of like bizarre shit lately, so
I can imagine.
you'll hear about that in an episode for GNC farther down the line.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was Daima for the week. Next week, it's just gonna get back on track. We're gonna kind of get things moving again, story wise. So I think we pretty much have next episode, and then like after that, it's just gonna be like a race to the finish.
Nice. Looking forward to it. But yeah, so going from Diamond now, I guess we should probably move on to our topic for this episode. Do you want to bring us into this one?
Sure. We are discussing for this episode the first season of Red versus Blue. The classic web series from the early 2000s, which ended up going on, I think, much longer than anybody expected it to.
Also,
And
fun fact: when you type in "Red versus Blue" on Google, one of the first things that pops up is "Red versus Blue States 2024." I'm just like, God fucking damn it!
you know what's funny too is I'm pretty sure they did like a Red State Blue State like PSA like super early on too, which I find really funny.
Well, that was like back in like the early. That was like during the Bush era too. So that was like the country
Mhm.
wasn't completely a fucking divided shit show back then.
I'm pretty sure like the entirety of the Blood Gulch seasons was during the Bush era,
I'm pretty sure because 2000, yeah, because 2003 to
2003 to 8. That
yeah,
sounds about right.
around there.
Um,
It
so,
was a it was a simpler time.
but yeah, the hit series Red versus Blue, which I honestly at this point I think it only stopped because the company went under. Who knows if it's gonna come back or not? Um, I'd like to think that it would, and hopefully just by the sheer fact of Bernie being the one who reacquired the company, hopefully he'll be returning to the series. Because the last season I watched, he had left, so like somebody else is doing the church voice, and I don't know how I felt about that.
Yeah. Oh boy,
Um,
this was a time capsule of early 2000s humor that I have not heard in a long time.
yeah, no shit, especially like gaming humor of the time,
Well,
like gaming related humor.
it's like a true like old school like video game style thing where they like straight up recorded the footage in game because this all runs off like Halo 1's engine, which is really
Hmm.
funny to watch. Like the first
Which do you know which version you watched?
the one that was on the Rooster Teeth YouTube channel.
Okay. Well, it's probably the same one I watched then, because apparently, further down the line, they had redone the entirety of season 1. They kept all the audio the same and stuff, but apparently they had reshot every scene. I think in like an updated engine. Like I don't know if they just used like anniversary or something, but
Well,
they had like completely redone everything.
if that was the case, I definitely watched the original because this was definitely original Xbox graphics.
Well, I mean, with anniversary, you could switch between original and.
True, but if they were gonna do that, why would they use the original Xbox graphics?
I mean, probably just for consistency's sake, because going from Halo 3 graphics to Halo 1 graphics, then back to Halo 2 graphics, like that'd be kind of weird, be jarring.
Which makes me wonder why they would even bother then.
I think it was for like an anniversary thing or something. But anyways, where, just out of curiosity, like where does your history with versus Blue start? Like, how did you first hear about it? When did you first get into it? Where did you
Um,
start? So on.
well, to be fair, I was a Sony boy, so anything Halo back in the day did not interest me in the slightest. Um, so I didn't really get into it until like the later like 2010s, probably after like Bernie was already out of Rooster Teeth.
Wow, really?
Yeah, you'd be.
That's wild to me.
You got to remember, I wasn't a Rooster Teeth guy. I was a Screw Tech guy.
That's fair. So you're still like a relatively
I have not seen
newer
the
fan.
entire series. I've seen mostly just the early stuff.
Well, like
Uh,
the like Blood Gulch stuff. You haven't seen any like when they actually started developing plot.
yeah, not really. It's like I
Wow. Okay. So this is gonna be
this is
fun. This is gonna be
yeah,
fun
it's
going
kind of
through this.
like, to be fair, like I had seen scenes from Blood Gulch, but like for the most part, this was going into it pretty much blind.
Okay. Cool. I like this dynamic. All right. See, I
Because
I started watching Red versus Blue. I remember specifically because I heard about it at a summer camp between sixth and seventh grade. So I was about to go into middle school, and I remember I was at it was like a day camp that I used to go to, and there was this kid that I went to school with who told me about it. He's like, "Oh, have you heard about this thing? It's Red versus Blue." And I remember I looked it up on this is taking it way back. I watched it on Google Video. If anybody remembers that,
I remember
um,
Google Video back
before
when.
before Google acquired YouTube, that was the video platform they used.
Yeah, and you could, if you went too deep, you could find really weird shit.
Oh yeah, you can find full movies and shit on there. Like it was great. Um, in a lot of ways, I miss Google Video. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. But yeah, like I heard about it and I went home and I watched. I pretty much like binged through the whole damn thing. At that point, I think I don't even know if they had finished Blood Gulch yet. I don't think they had. I think they had got. I think they were at like season 4 at the time. So I like pretty much went all the way through that. And one thing I noticed going through season 1 again is that a lot of it is kind of like setting up for recurring jokes that
Yeah,
we'll be seeing a lot.
I got that vibe because I was like, to be honest, the first season is a whole lot of bullshit. It's like nothing really happens plot wise.
I mean, that's going to be kind of a consistent thing throughout most of Blood Gulch.
I assume.
It's not really until season 6 that they start really saying like, "Hey, let's have a story." Like there's stuff happening, and there is like a series of events that happens and kind of ties together by the end of Blood Gulch, but like it's not meant to be taken seriously until you get to season 6, and that's when like they start throwing in some like twists and turns and more well thought out plot lines and whatnot.
It reminds me a lot of like those early web comics where like the early like uh, issues were just like random humor, and then like they'd suddenly develop these like deep, compelling plots, or sometimes not very compelling in certain ways. For anyone who's read Control Alt Delete, and knows what I'm talking about there. But like, sort of like that, where it was a very Watching this was very much a time capsule to that period of the internet where there was like all sorts of web series that were just kind of dumb jokes, and like
Yeah,
you'd watch them repeatedly. Like it reminded me kind of a lot of Madness Combat for anyone who's seen that series, where
I'm
the
not
first
familiar with it.
it's an old Newgrounds animation with like stick figures that were like beating, well, not really stick figures, but like these very caricatured characters beating each other up. The first episode is literally just this one guy just killing like thousands of other characters in the thing, and then suddenly it gets this deep, compelling plot out of nowhere.
It's so bizarre. Um, all right, we'll just kind of like jumping into it since you haven't really like watched Red versus Blue like seriously like episode one to end of season kind of thing. Um, were there any particular jokes that you found specifically funny? Like anything that like
Um,
got a chuckle out of you?
well, I mean, the one that comes right to mind is when they get the new recruit that shows up, and they just kind of they're just like hazing him, so they send him off to go find elbow grease and
Headlight fluid.
headlight fluid,
That
and
joke will never get old because people today still fucking fall for it, and it's amazing.
oh yeah, no, left-handed screwdriver, bucket of steam. Like if you work in a shop, you're just used to this shit. Like
It's one of those timeless jokes that never gets old. Never gets old. It's always funny every
I don't
time.
think I've ever heard elbow grease used in real life, but I've always heard like the other ones.
Mhm. Elbow
Um,
grease. How stupid do they think I am? When I get back with the headlight fluid, I'm gonna have a talk with the sergeant.
well, I love the fact too that that they think he's just going on like a random chase, and he ends up finding the enemy base, and then he just chats with the guy at the flag. And he's like, "Oh no, that's not what I'm looking for."
Yeah. He's like, well, I can't go back empty-handed. I guess I'll take the flag.
Yeah, I noticed there wasn't a lot of red versus blue in this series, like particular.
Well, I feel like this first season is like the most red versus blue out of all of them
That's going to be
because they
interesting going
actually fight
forward.
each other. Which I mean, like they will have their skirmishes as the show goes on, but they get to a point eventually where they start kind of like forming kind of a rapport. That they kind of only like keep up the fighting just for appearance's sake. Once you get to a certain point. And I think you'll find that they really like kind of get a handle for what they want the series to be like around like mid season two is like the point where it's like, okay, this is what the series is,
Hmm.
kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of jokes that get set up in this, and I don't think that was their original intention. But a lot of the stuff that you see here in season one are stuff that's going to be like, constantly brought up again later on, like recurring jokes and stuff like that. Like um, trying to fucking glom onto like any one particular thing. I mean, there's a lot of like the whole church ghost. I mean, Caboose killing church, like that's gonna happen repeatedly. Um,
Well, I mean, I love the first joke of the series where they're like, "You ever wonder why we're here?" Like the big meta joke that
yep,
almost every one of these series does.
that one comes up a lot too.
Oh, I did love the joke with the warthog too, where they were like, "Look
Oh
at
yes,
this."
yes. What kind of animal has tusks? A walrus. Didn't I just tell you to stop making up animals?
Yeah.
That one still gets me. I love that one. um, so I just want to like point out like the level of like creativity that goes into like how they had to, because I had the DVDs for actually
Mhm.
for season 1 through 13. I have the DVDs for, and all of them have commentary tracks. Actually, season 1 specifically has two. It has the original commentary track from when they first made the original DVD, and there is a secondary commentary track which was done, I think I think it was like the 7-year anniversary
Hmm.
commentary track, which is still old as dirt, by the way, because in the commentary they mentioned their podcast, which was still called the Drunk Tank Podcast, and they were talking about how much they're looking forward to Halo Reach. So yeah, it's still old as dirt.
Yeah.
But they talk a lot about like the process and like how they filmed certain things. Like even like that first opening like camera tilt going up to like Griffin Simmons, and they do the whole like wonder why we're here thing. Um, apparently, like the way they had to do that to get that camera tilt was they literally had like the camera because the way it works is like they have a separate character in the multiplayer and that's their camera.
Mm. Yeah, because then they have to also edit out the HUD or
Yeah.
disable the HUD. I know that I forget how they did it back in the day, but
Um, and they literally had him stand on the turret of the tank, and they had the tank was looking up, and that's how they got that camera tilt. And
oh yeah,
apparently, it was like really like they had to do it like just right because if they if they did it too fast, it would like the game would think that the tank ran him over and he would just die or like he'd fall off from one side to the other or whatever. So like and and actually like when it actually focuses on each individual character during that conversation, they they're actually filmed on separate bases because they had Griff on blue base and Simmons on red base because they like the lighting better. Like just little things like that that they had to like take into account and kind of splice together later on. It was just really interesting how they were able to do such a good job kind of making that seamless.
well, it was very interesting too because a lot of the it kind of made a lot of people realize that they could theoretically do this stuff themselves if they were talented at like good enough.
Hmm.
Because I know like I tried to do some like stuff like this back in the day, not quite red versus blue, but I tried to use using in-game footage. Didn't have a way to record it, which was kind of the reason why it never went anywhere. But
Hmm.
good old camcorder in front of the TV. Anyone remembers?
Um, oh, one of the jokes that I still love is the black stuff from the teleporter,
Yeah,
or even just like the delay in the teleporter. Like I still find that very funny. Like he's just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna use the teleporter. Go ahead, Tucker. And he goes in. It's just like, huh, he didn't come out the other side. And like as they're doing their big showdown, he just pops out like ah.
mm. Like I like the joke too with back with like the car, the warthog. Still, it's like I get to drive the float, and Simmons is in charge of confetti.
Yeah. Also the Warthog music still amazing. I love it.
Mm.
They were going to be using that music literally anytime they use the Warthog throughout the entire series.
I also love that one character's name is Donut.
Yep. I would just refuse to call him Private Donut.
Yeah,
um. Yeah,
like
it's really,
that's like my favorite joke is like when they're like, "You think we were too mean to that kid? Nah, he'll just wander around a cliff for a few hours. What's the worst that could happen?" Cuts, and it's like, finally, there it is. Oh, sweet, they
yeah,
sell tanks.
yeah. I love the whole like conversation where like Church is like talking about his girl back home, and freaking Caboose is just like, my dad always says, "Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?"
Yeah, that is such a early 2000s thing that like you say that now and people just go like, huh?
It is funny too, is like by that point they hadn't really gotten like a real handle on what they wanted Caboose to be yet. Like it kind of seemed like he was just kind of like sarcastic, and then like by the time say like Church dies, like
Mm.
that's when they're like, oh wait, he's just an idiot. Like that's what we're gonna lean with, and it really works with the character. And there's some jokes I could bring up later on that the Caboose is one of the best characters by far. And it's see with Red versus Blue, it's one of those things where like I can't decide who my favorite character is. I just can't because I love them all for different reasons.
Mm. I'd have to see more of it because like I still don't really know them all yet, but
Yeah, like they're still kind of like figuring them all out at this point. I think one of the only ones that really like I mean he has development and he does get better as it goes, but like Tucker and Church are pretty much the same throughout, like personality wise. Like they do go through their stuff and develop and whatnot, but like Tucker for the most part is just Tucker. Like
mm.
is friggin' the whole part where Tucker is just like what does he say? It's like something like, "Oh, friggin' God! First he invents hangovers, and then half women, half sharks that won't even sleep with me. Thanks for nothing, God."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh man, Tucker's a riot. And we didn't get too much Tex here. Um, and I always loved Tex as a character. We didn't really like kind of like I mean, we got like the abrasiveness of Tex, but we didn't really get too much of her personality
Mm.
in this season. I mean, there's a lot of things. Is like, yeah, this is very much an experimental, stage of the series. I mean, even like Sarge's voice, he hasn't even gotten the voice fully down yet. Is still very rough around the edges.
Yeah, it is very nonsensical at this point. I'm assuming it gets a bit more like structured later on.
It does. I mean, it still has like because I mean, one of the things that Red vs. Blue really leans into, and this is kind of the thing that made me really love this type of comedy is like the banter humor. Like I love like the back and forth like banter, like fuck you, no fuck you, like that kind of shit. Like that's it's like I swear to God, like me getting into Red versus Blue at a young age is why I love things like Always Sunny. Because it's the same type of comedy.
It's definitely got a lot of bro humor
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah,
for early 2000s anyways. It's
yeah.
that humor's
It,
completely different nowadays, but
they get a lot more like clever with the jokes later on. This is very like surface level. Like I feel like they were really trying to like
they were
really
going for
like
that like
leaning on like the FPS online gaming kind of humor.
minus the excessive swearing and racism.
Yeah, well, you'll get shades of that later on.
uh, oh boy. Not sure which part of that I'm looking forward to.
Well, I won't tell you who, but one of the characters is black. They don't actually like reveal that until like season 4.
Gotcha.
So it's
Um,
one of those like random things where it's just like, wait, you you didn't tell me this. It's just like, why would it matter? It's just like racist asshole.
yeah, like all Call of Duty lobbies from back in the day.
Exactly. But it's just like the way they do like those kinds of casual reveals too. It's just like no, I've always been this way. What are you talking about?
You know what's one thing I
Like
find
even
really funny?
earlier. Oh, go ahead.
Well, one thing that's really funny is because they're using the in-game engine. This is just a thing that like it's like an FPS thing that I notice. You look at all the characters moving around and they all move so fucking stiffly, and
Oh yeah.
I'm like, it's because it's an FPS. You're not supposed to see the character model, and when you
Mhm.
do, you're usually killing
Supposed
it.
to be
So
shooting at it. Yeah.
it's really funny watching. And you're like, wow, they move so stiff as fuck. It works for this just because the tone and humor, but like it's always one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you can tell where the budget went for that.
Mhm. Um, but yeah, like as I was saying, like the like with the whole like casual like reveal about like a character aspect or whatever, like how they like it wasn't until like maybe midway through the season where they're like, oh yeah, Lopez is a robot. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And apparently originally they were just gonna have him be Mexican, but like somewhere along the line they were like, no, we're just gonna make him a robot, but he only speaks Spanish.
Yes.
And just little glimpse into the future, that never changes. So he will just be speaking Spanish the whole time with subtitles, and none of them know how to speak Spanish, except for Donut, who only has like high school Spanish. So very poor Spanish.
I did like the gag after Church died and he was a ghost for a while, and they just kind of played with that for a bit.
Yeah, all of the possession jokes and shit. Like, what was still one of my favorite jokes in all of the series is still when he takes over Sarge. He's like, "Oh, these goddamn blues make me so mad I could spit." Did you just spit in your visor? I guess I did.
Yeah.
And then, and then like when he leaves Sarge, he's just like, who spit in my visor?"
Yeah.
Like I still find that joke fucking hilarious.
Yeah. It's just like goofy shit like that. It's very nonsensical humor, and that's kind of it's got an appeal to it that really fits for this style of video series.
Mhm. But listening to the commentaries, it was really interesting, like hearing a lot of the different ways that they had to kind of like get around certain things, like with how seamless they make it. Like you wouldn't even really be able to tell, but like basically the way they did it, it's not like animation. It was more like the way you would film something live action, where you had to take like multiple cuts and string them together to
Oh
make it
yeah.
function correctly. Like for instance, when Tex throws the grenade at Donut. like hits him in the side of the head. Like, oh, what is that? Is it a spider? Get it off. That whole thing. Apparently, in order to make that work, because obviously grenades go off pretty quickly in the game, um, they had to have like a whole like lineup of donuts just like ready to go.
Yep.
And like literally they'd throw the grenade, record a line, he'd explode, they'd send in another donut, they'd throw another grenade, he'd say another line, it'd explode. They just had to do that over and over until they got everything they needed.
Hmm.
Just like little
Yeah.
things like that like it's really interesting. Like the different ways that they had to make this stuff work.
I believe that the terminology, because there was the website and provide the hosting service that was named after, but I think it's called like machinima. Technically, is the
Yes, that
phrase.
is a technical term for using like an in-game engine for film purposes.
Machine cinema, I believe that's what it's referred to as. That's
Um,
another website from back in the day that some people loved, some people didn't love, but it had a lot of pretty cool content.
yeah. Um, and there's also like a lot of like in-game or not in-game, but like inside jokes that they like kind of just stuck in there.
Mm.
Like there's a little bit in the season where um like it cuts to like Griffin Simmons talking or whatever. And Griffin's just like, no, that is how it happened. Like you were just like, I'm not going to the Vegas quadrant. Next thing we knew, blah blah blah. Apparently, anyone listening, feel free to. I wouldn't be able to do the story justice, but there is a story behind that. Just go on YouTube and look up RTAA Vegas, and
Mm.
you'll get the full story there. But that's what that joke is based on, where they tell that whole story about how like the first time they all were together for the like to meet and like there's like a whole thing where like a bunch of them wanted to go to Vegas and Gus was just like, no, I'm not going to Vegas, blah blah blah. And it ended up becoming a whole thing. But like they tell the whole story in that video. So do yourself a favor and check that. I say check out all of the Rooster Teeth animated adventures. They're so fucking funny.
Mm.
And they're all literally just done around like conversations they have during podcasts.
Yeah, it is really funny though when you hear like one of like because all the original Rooster Teeth people are like pretty much doing voices in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like me being a big fan of like Black Box Down, whenever I hear Gus in this, I'm like, oh hey, it's that guy.
Yeah, Gus is always just doing Gus voice. It's like nothing. It's always just
Yeah,
Gus.
I'm always like, oh, this is the guy that talks about plane crashes.
Yeah, it's just like he sounds like nerdier, if that's even possible, in
Yeah.
this. That's about it. Um, yeah, there's a few. It's funny too, like how there are a few characters who literally just use their regular voice, and then there's some that actually do voices. Like like Matt Hullum, who voices Sarge, like he has to do like a voice. He has to do
Yeah.
like a gruff, like Southern accent kind of thing. Until a new character gets introduced in the next season, who he also plays. That's more like his actual voice.
Hmm.
But he's also kind of doing like more of a wimpy thing with that. It's funny too, like how many people play multiple characters in this show. Not to the degree of like the old Z Dub or anything, but um uh like Bernie, he plays Church like mainly, but he also plays Lopez. Um Before Tex's voice filter broke and it got revealed that she was a girl,
Hmm.
he was doing the voice for Tex as well. So like little stuff like that. He
A
also
lot of
plays another character later on.
a lot of talking to themselves, as the term would go.
Actually, funny enough, there's only in at least in this first season, there's only um two people in the cast that are actual like professional actors.
Yeah.
That's the actor for Caboose and the actor who plays the tank Sheila.
Hmm. Oh yeah, Sheila the Tank. I remember that.
Yep,
So random series.
it is, but like it's actually really funny how like they retroactively make all of this make sense.
Well, that's usually how like these like projects will go. Like they start out just as nothing, and then they're like when they actually become something, they're like, we need to work all of this into the lore.
Like eventually, like by the time you get to like the later, like maybe like season 15 or so, you go back and you watch season one, and it's like, oh, they explained like all of this like later on. Like all of
Yeah.
this nonsense actually has a purpose in the storyline.
I love too, like just because of how Halo One's like the environments they had access to. Like there's so much of this is in like the same couple areas.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of part of the thing is like because they only had so many tools at their disposal using Halo 1, they wanted to kind of like slowly dole out different things. So like as let's see like next season, oh, is it next season? I don't know if it's the next season of season 3, but they will start to kind of branch out and explore different maps later on.
Hmm.
So like it won't like be tied specifically just to Blood Gulch. Like they are going to move around and go to different places and stuff, but um
Nice.
and obviously eventually we're going to get more characters and whatnot.
Oh yeah, there's so many more colored soldiers we can have.
Oh yeah. We'll just wait until they start adding actual animations to the series.
I think I saw one comment that like somebody like like kind of ironically made where they were like, for a show called Red versus Blue, there's a lot more colors than just red and blue.
Yeah, right. It's actually there's a whole like story because apparently they wanted to put Donut in the pink armor a lot earlier, but part of the reason they didn't was because, well, first of all, it was hard for them to get around. Well, obviously they had the whole thing with the flags, right?
Hmm.
And when you're playing Capture the Flag in the original Halo, you can't have custom colors.
Yep.
So, and that's why Donut's the only one who carries the flag throughout this whole thing, is because he has to.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
because that was
and
like a
and why Caboose is the only one who's like when he gets the flag, it's Caboose specifically because they're just base red and base blue.
hmm. No, that was like a big thing in like custom machine, like real true machinimas back in the day. Was like they would have to like really work with what they had. Like I always remember like you'd get old like RuneScape machinimas back in the day, and it was
Mhm.
always real. They'd try really hard to record these things without getting interrupted by outside players. But you'd every now and then you'd see like one just like slip through the background. And you'd be like, ah,
Mhm. Man, I mean, now that we've actually gotten through this, see, I thought you had watched more of this, so I'm like really excited to go through this now, knowing that you haven't actually watched it before.
yeah. I'm hoping the next time we do this, I won't be as dead tired as I was this week because like I probably honestly should have watched it a few more times. Um,
Yeah, I watched it a couple of times. Yeah, I listened to the commentaries a couple of times as well, just for the the extra background on it. Like the that's why I like the fact that I have the DVDs, is so I have access to all those commentaries.
yeah, I can imagine. I can
Fun
imagine,
fact
honestly.
though, because it had been so long since I had collected the DVDs, when I got up to 13, like that was the current season. Just for shits and giggles, I went to look up like, oh, I wonder, like I should probably buy some of the other seasons, and I looked up season 14 DVDs. Yeah, I'm not buying those because
I
now
mean,
that Rooster Teeth has gone under, and obviously like they're back now, so maybe like they'll start pushing their product again eventually. But um, unless I feel like paying between $100 and $500 for season 14, I'm not buying it.
yeah, that's like collecting like video games.
Mhm.
Isn't it
Now I
fun?
really wish I had hopped on the Rooster Teeth website and bought a bunch of shit when they were going down because I mean even just so I could have it, not even for considering like oh I could turn this around and make a good buck.
I'm just surprised they've never done like a complete series like that.
Well, I mean they kind of have like they've done that like they've done the Blood Gulch set, which is seasons 1 through 5 with like bonus disc with like extra special features and stuff, and then they've done the Recollection, which is seasons 6, 7, and 8. Um, I don't know if they did a grouping of 9 and 10, but I think they did do one big pack with 1 through 10. I could be
Hmm.
mistaken, but I think they did. They usually group together ones that make sense to have together, like 11 through 13. That's all part of one storyline. It's like a trilogy, so like I'm pretty sure they've grouped those together. But like, I mean, this the series was ongoing the whole time,
Yeah.
so like there was never a point where they were like, "We're done." They just continued.
Well,
So
apparently it ended officially in 2021, but then there was a movie later on.
I wasn't aware of a movie.
Or that's what Wikipedia told me.
But I also I by that point I wasn't keeping up with Rooster Teeth anymore. So
True.
uh,
Yeah, there
I think
was a film.
by the time Bernie and Joel left, I was just kind of checked out of everything because like Caboose isn't Caboose without Joel Heyman. Like
Yeah,
regardless of how you feel about the man himself, like it's just you can't do Caboose with somebody else. It just doesn't work. And as soon as they changed him, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like,
gotcha.
obviously, once we get there, like we'll watch it just for the sake of the show, and maybe I'll come around to it. But I mean, it'd probably be different for you because you don't have the nostalgia tied to it like I do. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be really interesting once we get later on and they start throwing in like actual big name actors because that does happen.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely a blast from the past. Like for it's definitely a blast for the past for like this era of the internet back when it was a lot more fun
Mhm.
and not everything had to be a statement.
Yeah, there's a few things in this first season that probably wouldn't fly today.
Well, also, interestingly enough, just like the way the YouTube landscape works, this is a show that probably wouldn't work nowadays.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they wouldn't be able to release it episodically.
yeah, it's one of those things that's very much like tied with the time. Like if it had come out any later, it probably wouldn't have worked.
Well, yeah, because it's also a case of like with YouTube and like web video now, like it's all about long form stuff. No one wants a short like 3 minute video or 2 minute video anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the episodes did get longer as they went on.
No, I'm sure they did. It's just like a case of like you can tell like this it was a thing that just wouldn't work nowadays. That's why
Yeah.
Machinima died. Like it's just it. Well, I mean, there's many reasons why Machinima died, but it was just that's why you don't see a lot of these anymore. Like productions like this.
Even a bridge series have been kind of dying out.
Well, they're hard to do now just because like the uh the copyright owners are not they aren't as friendly with that anymore.
This is true. Bungie like was fully behind them with this. I'm honestly fully convinced that Blood Gulch, like the map, was in Halo 2 because of them.
Most like you see, well, Bungie has their issues, but they were always generally like very creative, like fan content friendly,
Mhm.
and even 343 to a degree, I think was still pretty good about it.
Well, I mean, I don't recall them ever having any trouble continuing to make the series. So
Yeah,
at least as far as like rights and shit goes, like I don't think they ever had any issues with
well,
it. But
I noticed like right away they really don't use a lot of Halo slang, and they don't. I don't think they use the word Halo at all throughout it.
well, they do mention Master Chief and the Covenant in the first episode,
True.
and they actually I'm pretty fairly certain that Bungie used them as like promotional things for like some of the later Halo games.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Um,
Like I'm pretty sure they made like an animation using cutscenes from like Halo 3 or Halo 4. No, maybe it was Reach. I don't remember which, but anyway, there's some Halo where they literally just like did a whole like actual animated cutscenes from the game, but with Caboose.
yeah, it's different in that case because like you can mention like the characters and stuff. They just couldn't use like Halo and like the branding or like the naming stuff.
Yeah. Um, but no, like all told, like the it's very much a product of its time, but it's still really fun to go back to. It's it's one of those things where you could definitely tell that they're trying to find their footing, and by this point they were very popular and they were successful, but um, it wouldn't be until a little bit later on when they really like found their groove and were able to just kind of like slide into it whenever they need to.
It was a bygone era of like internet content where like things were just funner and like that you didn't. Not everything was made with the sole focus of making money,
Yeah, for sure.
which I think is the key difference these days.
Hmm.
They were
For
doing it
sure.
truly for the art.
But yeah, Don't really think there's too much else we could add. As we said, there's not really a whole lot in the way of plot.
Yeah, not yet. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Um, I like the opening theme. That was fun.
Yeah. The band that did a lot of the music for Rivers Blue Trocadero, they got a lot of good music. It's
Hmm.
all very for the most part, it's very mellow music.
Hmm. Yeah,
Which I do like. I have gone through my Trocadero phases where I'll just listen to their CDs every now and then. Actually, the at least one of the DVDs that I have actually had like an entire album of their music on the DVD.
that's fun.
So
But yeah, I think other than that though, pretty much good to go. I guess we've mentioned it in the past, but we should probably officially announce the next month of content will be Toriyama month.
yep. We already have our episodes planned out. We're still kind of figuring out what order we want to do them in, but we're going to be doing like a couple of Dragon Ball themed episodes and a couple of episodes based on Toriyama stuff that isn't Dragon Ball.
Hmm.
So, and we have a couple of guests lined up for that. So, hopefully, timing and scheduling works out for that, and
Yeah,
everything goes good.
yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, so anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on superpodnetwork.com. That is superpodnetwork.com. I said that twice, whatever. Um, it's an awesome site with a whole bunch of awesome shows, podcasts, videos, blogs. I think we're wrapping up our series on PS1 blogs currently. I'm just doing a whole bunch of fun stuff. Always go check us out over there. We did a whole video a while back going over the Switch 2 launch. It was very chaotic, but it was also very super pod in a lot of ways. But yeah, once again, guys, thank you for joining us. We will see you all later.
Have a good one.